Hi, I'm Lara Wallace, and welcome to Bass Capital Radio Podcast. Today, I've got with me Miss Evelyn Snyder, longtime resident of Putnam County and lifelong artist. It seems to run in your blood. Your mom was an artist here locally. You've been here since you were 5, correct? Mm-hmm. And so tell me a little bit about your growing up in the art scene.
Well, it was something that I always lived with. My mom wouldn't buy me coloring books. It was draw it out and color it if you want to. So I had to learn from an early age. And she taught classes in arts and crafts. So I absorbed a lot of that as growing up as well.
Right. Now, she taught here locally. Is that correct? Okay.
She started out teaching at the high school. She had a double major in botany and art.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of her schooling was financed by her botanical illustrations that she did for books.
Oh, that's really unique. I did not even think about, somebody had to draw that, know. That's really neat. I have some books at home with the little illustrations like that, the little figure ones, and those are really cool pieces. So she was teaching art. Obviously, you were absorbing at home and then absorbing in class. And you went to class, and then you kind of ventured out to college and with the intentions of doing art for commission.
Right.
And the term starving artist, I think, is a familiar term, as you shared.
Yes.
So what did you do as you were learning art, to keep things going, if you will?
While I was learning, or as I was...
Or as you were working?
In the working field, I tried starting out doing commission work.
Right.
I moved up to Georgia so that I would be closer to Atlanta, where I thought there might be more commissions available. But they were few and far between, so I ended up working in art and craft stores.
Right.
To supplement my income.
Still close to the art home, at least. Yeah.
At least I was close. Yeah.
Growing up, I always thought that you had to be dead to for the art to be appreciated. But it is hard to find commission pieces. But I feel like, at least then, but now it's so much more prevalent with social media. I have been exposed to art styles that I've never seen in my life, and people really are making a living now off of just their art.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of different avenues that have opened up with computers and availability.
Right. Craft shows, I would always see art there, and I thought that was a really unique way to get it out there. People would follow the festivals everywhere.
Right. And that's a hard life, too. Schlepping everything around, setting up, breaking down, sitting there all day. That's a rough life, too.
That is not for the faint of heart, that's for
No,
sure.
it
That's a dedication. So as you go through school and you go through, I think you said you went to school later on for CAD design, correct? But you went to college for what?
Textile design was my major.
Textile design, okay. And that's working with fabric, correct?
Right, and creating fabric, weaving it,
right.
Spinning.
Did you make a lot of the clothes that you wore?
I did.
That's
awesome. A lot.
And you still have a couple pieces of those, I'm sure?
I probably do, yeah.
I don't
like to sew anymore, though. I burned out on it.
Yeah. I have tried to use a sewing machine, and I cannot figure that out. I'll still hand sew, and I don't know how people did that back then, but that was how you wore clothes. You made them, you hand sewed them, and that was it. And they were handed down for generations, where it's a little bit different now.
Yes, it is.
So you did textile design, and tell me where you went with that.
I did a few pieces for, like I did a church tapestry with their symbol on it.
Oh, okay.
And I did some clothing items with macrame stuff on the front. I did a couple of shows, yeah. I'm trying to remember if I did.
Yeah.
But it was few and far between.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my understanding is you made it back home with your parents. Is that correct? For taking care of your mom and dad at some point.
Yeah, and closer to the 90s.
Okay.
I was out of the state for probably 6-8 years.
Okay.
And then moved back here when my parents became elderly and needed help.
Right. And so at some point, you took a job with water management, and you'd got an education in CAD design. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
first I worked with my ex-husband.
Okay.
And he was a surveyor.
Okay.
So I went back to school at that point and learned the CAD design. After we worked together for a few years, I saw an opening at the Water Management District.
Okay.
And since it was nice to have insurance for both of us,
Right.
yeah, and a better pay, I went ahead and started there, and I worked there until I retired.
Oh, wow. So the good little stint there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of us who don't know, CAD design is, I see it as a form of art style, but maybe you can explain it to us.
It's more of a technical design thing. It's used for a lot of different applications. Architects use it, building houses and so forth. It's used for all kinds of mechanical design. What I was working in was called civil design,
Okay.
which has to do with on the ground or underground work.
Right. Even that to me is a whole medium of, I've seen people create incredible buildings. That is an art style in itself. Traditional, home roof, door, windows, you can make some really unique layouts with that. There's so many different types of art that you can be exposed to and use that education in. But you continued taking classes after did you get back into taking classes after you retired, or, I know you took them with your mom.
I took a few workshops. Yeah.
Okay.
I took workshops in color pencil, and that I immediately was drawn to because it was technical and it was minute detail, which is what I'd gotten used to
Right.
in my working life.
I've watched artists do the stroke by stroke for the fur, and I have a big admiration for someone who can sit there and line by line. I mean, I look at my pet and all the dog fur, and each one of those little strokes is, a moment in time, and how many hours go into maybe a pet portrait or something like that.
A lot of hours, and people don't seem to understand that when they, ask for pricing.
Right.
Because it does take quite a while.
Right. And time is money, so I do think that that's true, that people maybe not understanding what goes into it don't really know how to value that kind of work.
Yeah.
So let's go back to you were working at Water Management. You said you retired. And one of the things that you have been involved in is the Gathering Artist of Putnam.
Right.
And so this is a fairly new group. So you retired, you kind of took some art classes. Tell me how Gathering Artist of Putnam came to be for you.
A group of artists started talking to Robbie Correa, our mayor, and we were lamenting how there needed to be more artistic venues downtown and more places to be exposed to the arts. And in talking to her, we decided to talk to some other artists and see what we could make happen. So that's how the Gathering Artist of Putnam name came about.
I like it. I like it. Truly Gathering Artist of Putnam.
Right.
Now, I would love to hear more about that. But one of the things I was reading in your the biography that you sent over is that this isn't the first time you've been involved in an art group. So you've had exposure elsewhere too. Is that correct?
I have. Yeah, I worked with the Arts Council for close to 20 years.
Wow.
And I was a curator for all their art shows.
So tell me what you do when you curate for an art show.
Well, you have to find the artists. So I had great fun going to all the art shows up and down the coast and finding artists that I thought would fit and did the amount, would have the right amount of work to fill that building. Because
Right.
You can put anywhere from 50 works or more in that building, depending on the size, of course. But that was a lot of fun to me, and meeting a lot of artists and seeing different styles and hearing about their techniques, which was also an education for me.
For sure, yeah. Connecting with people who know what they're doing in their style and getting to hear how they do that. What is the most interesting art style that you found along the way?
I think the installation works are very interesting. The way they come up with a concept and just keep bringing things in, and it's magically an amazing piece of art.
The people who can visualize like that, like I feel like I need a reference point. I have to look at something. I can get an idea for something, but never on a large scale. But I think that it's close by, and maybe in Jacksonville, I could be wrong. But there is a place that takes recycled goods and turns them into installations. And that's always inspiring to use something that would have been trash otherwise. But I've seen videos of people take in, like warehouses and make these life-size pieces, or pieces that you like stand here and it looks one way and then you move and it transforms into something else. Ripley's Believe It or Not, someone taking matchsticks and creating a whole house out of it. That's something that I just cannot wrap my mind around. So that's true talent for sure. So you've curated all these art pieces, and my study here shows that there is a scholarship in honor of your mom.
Yes.
Through that. Okay.
Yeah, and that's how I got involved with the Arts Council. When my mom passed, the person who was the executive director at the time called me and asked me to come down and asked me if they could start a scholarship in her honor.
And that's called the Olay Scholarship, right? For Olivia Lay.
Right.
Yeah, I love the name.
Yeah.
It's real.
That's how she signed her paintings, too.
Oh, that's
Olay.
awesome. Yeah, that's a really memorable. And that still exists, right?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
It's at the St. John's River State College now. And any artist that has been there for an entire year and seems dedicated to their, is for a second-year student.
Right.
So they just need to talk to the advisors and they can apply for it.
Okay. We'll be sure to leave information below about that. So if you're watching this and you're in your second year and you're curious how you could possibly qualify for the scholarship, we'll be sure to put some information below. Thinking about gathering artists at Putnam, I mean, we have the Flow Arts school right here in Putnam County. So there is a building of gathering young artists who are learning and are taking a very similar path and learning from artists just like your mom, to create things like this. And there's performing arts. So we really do have a quite eclectic type of art here, or types of art here. We have the theater group, 2 theater groups, what the high school produces, which is incredible. The Larimar Arts Center, which I think you're a part of, is that correct? Or have worked in at some point?
I have worked in there quite a bit. That's where the Arts Council of Greater Palatka was housed.
Okay. So you have been in all sorts of the art scene around here.
I have.
So who better to help gather the artists at Putnam than someone who has been doing this since childhood and seeing it as their parents were involved, or their mom was involved in this. So you started the Gathering Artists at Putnam. You guys met, and your first meeting, what did that look like?
Brainstorming. Just brainstorming how we could get in touch with new artists that have moved to the area that we hadn't met yet. Some that were hiding in faraway places and nooks and crannies around the county. We just started putting messages out, Facebook, social media, email, whatever we could think of. To ask more artists to come join us and help us create this thing.
Very exciting thing that has taken off, by the way. So you have your first meeting and you put the feelers out there, and so next meeting goes, and how did that look?
Well, we had been talking with Robbie, like I said, and she discussed with Lacey Motley, who owns the Magnolia, about a building that she had that was vacant right beside Robbie's place.
Okay.
Her little shop, what's it called?
Lemon Street Market.
Yes. I always forget that. So Lacey loaned us the building.
Okay.
And she said, it's a mess, but you can use it if you want to clean it up. So we did. There was still remnants from the previous antique place that had been there. So we had to move all that. Yeah.
Do.
Yeah. And a lot of it got shoved in the back room.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
But we painted the walls. We had a vision, and we worked on it for 2 weeks. And by the middle of the next month, we were opening our first show. So
2 meetings, 2 weeks, and then a show. That's incredible. How many people were involved in this process?
I would say about a dozen at that point.
So many hands made light work, but that's still a small amount to get all that cleaned up and then in just a short period of time open a show.
It was. We were dedicated.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So you guys started in September of last year?
Yes.
Okay, so September of last year, and we are barely into, we're not quite into halfway through this year. And you guys have had how many shows now?
We've had a new show every month.
Okay.
So that's what, 7 maybe? 6
That's
or 7?
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's grown quite a bit from the original 12. Is that accurate? Okay.
Yes, there are at least 30 working artists and over 400 people on our Facebook followers.
Wow. That you guys are turning and burning over there, making things happen. I love that. And we'll be sure that on Facebook that if you want to follow this journey, or maybe you are an artist and want to see what they're doing, we'll make sure to put the link down there. So you have these showings, and tell me what's going on right now.
Right now we're in the middle of, Lacey sold the building, so we are moving out, or we did move out already. We formed an LLC so that we can rent somewhere else. We have one possibility that we're hoping is going to go through okay, knock on wood. And we're getting organized, financially, and all the business things you have to go
Making
through.
it official.
Yes.
Now, I have to say, I use this lightly. As an artist, I've always had interest in art. I took art classes growing up in high school, and really, I cannot do people, hands, or feet. That is not for me. I've tried to do in the circles. Anybody who can draw people, good for you. That is not something. I do like animals. As you shared, that's something you are interested in. But I just like any type of crafting. So my husband has put together a studio at home. We are a non-conventional family. My kids to some degree like art. One of my younger ones is very gifted naturally, so she's always plundering in my studio. But we never really used our dining room, so he's like, I'm just going to make it a studio for you. So instead of a dining room, we use the kitchen for that, and we have a studio in there. And I love to create. And there are so many different, mediums and ways that you can do it. I don't think I really have one style, but I was in Robbie's shop, and she's got a lot of wonderful things in there, and different art type of artwork in there, whether it be something that locally crafted goods, or edibles, or things like that. There's a lot of stuff to see in there, and she shared with me that, let me show you next door the Gathering Artist of Putnam. I said, well, who's the Gathering Artist of Putnam? I've never heard of them. Granted, I haven't been on Facebook a lot, so, but once I got on Facebook and looked at what you've been doing, you guys have been, doing a lot on there. So, I was just so impressed with the different art mediums that are in there, and how talented that all of you are. I mean, just as a collaborative, you've got jewelry and ceramics, and I think there was some metalwork and resin pouring and
woodwork.
And a bonsai made out of an azalea bush, and again, forgive my novice here, but I don't know if bonsai is a style or if it's a specific plant, but it was a azalea bush in a way I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
So that is really, really cool.
Well, it's an ancient Chinese craft of forming plants and shaping them to stay small.
I learned something new. And I didn't even know azalea flowers could be that small. So, that really is, just everybody has their own unique thing. And photography was in there. And, so you guys just kind of take turns putting pieces in there, or how does that work?
We've evolved to the point that we come up with a theme.
Okay.
And then we put the theme out there as, this is what we're doing.
Okay.
Do something or bring something that fits these parameters.
Okay. Now, you don't have a home right now, but you do have other pieces that we could see in the meantime. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. We've got 2 windows, 2 different buildings on the 200 block of St. John's.
Okay, so right here downtown Palatka.
Yeah, that we have decorated the windows with art.
I love it, and bringing the buildings to life.
Yes.
And
that was one of our initial reasons for forming, is that there wasn't enough art downtown.
I could not agree more.
And the buildings needed to have more life in them.
I have definitely tried to, right here on that corner of that one, the 200 block. Tried to slow down enough. There was a piece out there that until just a few moments ago did not understand that I thought it was PVC pipe that was painted, just from the perspective that I drove by it.
Okay.
But it is paint cans?
Yes, it's paint cans.
Okay.
With paint pouring out of them and puddling down on the ground, and it's meant to be a photo op.
Right.
People go stand in front of it, and we've got quite a bit of people that have gone and taken their photo and posted it to our page.
Well, I'll be stopping there today.
Op.
Yeah. So driving past it, life has kept me busy, but have continued to want to stop by. And recently, in sharing history, Bass Capital Radio podcast really wants to capture the history and the art and things like that of Putnam County.
Okay.
So I wanted to take pictures with the murals, which are, art pieces on the side of our buildings downtown. And I will be sure to make that a pit stop along the way and take my photo op. I'll bring the kids down to see it and hopefully inspire them to do their own art. And
yeah, I'm also on the mural committee.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, everywhere there's art. There's Evelyn Snyder. So. So you've got that piece, and then another section that you guys have artwork in. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's further up the road.
Okay.
The first one we did, it's at 212, I believe, is the address.
Okay, 212. And how long are those going to be up for? And how long have they been up, and how long will they be up for?
The 212 one has been up for about 3 months, I think, 2.5 months probably.
Okay.
And this one we just opened last weekend.
Okay.
So it'll be up for a couple of months, I would think.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of effort to put the art and hang it in there.
I'm sure. Because, it really is kind of tiered in there. It is not just...
Some of them are hung from the ceiling.
Right.
The second one is mostly with easels.
Okay.
Made it a little less bulky to put up.
Yeah. But it really is like a drive-by gallery.
Yeah.
I
and
love
we'd
it.
like to, if there are any other buildings in other parts of St. John's that somebody would like to have art displayed in, they can just contact us and we'll do that.
That is a must. So anybody watching this, I would love to see art all the way through, not just downtown Palaca, but all the way through Putnam County.
Yes.
You guys have been involved, and I'd love to hear about that and other aspects of the community. But if you want art in your downtown shop or your business and you want to put it there, be sure to contact Miss Evelyn or the Gathering Artist of Putnam. Again, there'll be links below to do that.
Yes.
So I think that would be a wonderful idea. I know that there have been a lot of opportunities discussed about the future of what downtown Palaca looks like, and so I hope to see that all the way down.
I do too. That's my dream.
Yeah, and you're making it happen. You and your Gathering Artist Putnam group. I mean, really, I just cannot believe how quickly it's taken off.
I can't either.
So tell me what else you guys have been involved in along the way.
We've done booths in several of the festivals locally. Crescent City had a night market. The Azalea Brewery had a night market we did. And usually it's, just 3 or 4 of us artists will get together with a tent and put up some work and tell them about our group. And we can meet more artists that way too, doing that. We did the Blueberry Festival. Where else have we gone? Did I say Crescent City? Yes.
Yep. I know Christina Marie has the Sea Gypsy Art Studio out there.
Yeah. And
I know that they have a lot of art intentions down there and growing that. So I think that's amazing to see that out there. And then, if you were looking for art maybe in other areas of the community, Melrose?
Yeah, Melrose has a couple of nice galleries.
Okay.
They have a First Friday art walk.
All right.
The galleries there are usually open on weekends.
Okay.
Not so much during the week. But I am a member of the Melrose Bay Gallery, too.
I love it. Have art, will travel. And how have you shared this message in the community? Have there been other ways, maybe with civic groups or anything like that?
Yeah, I went and talked to the Morning Rotary group when we were first forming. Mainly, we were trying to get supporters at that point. And that was a good talk. I enjoyed that. Met some nice folks.
Well, I think that's important. I mean, again, if I haven't said it already, the health and wellness of a community starts at, the core level of how you feel in your community. And art is a way to bring happiness and joy. And, whether it be through music or through what you guys are doing, there's just a lot of avenues, and you spreading that through Putnam County is really impacting the lives of others. I was so excited to go to that art gallery. I mean, I told my husband,
enjoyed it.
oh my gosh, I told my husband, listen, I don't have to leave town. There is a gallery here, and just, I mean, we probably were there an hour. And what you guys did, just looking at everything, and the artists were there, and being able to talk to them about their work. I mean, it's just a great experience. So I look forward to you having a future home.
Yes.
And
that's part of being a member too. We have to work the gallery.
Okay.
So we take turns doing that.
And now you change out the theme every time that you do this?
Usually once a month. We may switch that up if it becomes too difficult to keep doing, to every other month.
Right.
Or we may feature an artist and keep the others in. We're still working those things out.
Well, I mean, really, you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
You guys can conceptualize it, and you can do it, and it's unique. We haven't had something quite like this that I can remember. And
I'd like to see Palatka go back to having street parties once a month too.
Oh yeah,
that was always a great way to show art.
Yeah, that would be amazing, and I think that's coming. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is sharing all of the upcoming events, and Bass Capital Radio Podcast really wants to capture those moments and say, to all the people, there's nothing to do here. There's lots to do here, and we have to work together. And just what you're doing is an example of when people come together with a mission. And I think you guys have a mission. Is that correct?
Yes.
So tell me your mission.
I can read you my mission
I'm
statement.
ready. Read it to me. I'm ready.
Gathering Artists of Putnam aspires to showcase visual artists and artisans of Putnam County, promote a visionary community spirit, and become a creative force in the revitalization of the city of Palatka and Putnam County.
I think that's a great mission statement.
Through the arts.
Yes. I think that's a great mission statement, and should inspire others, whether you're into art or music, or whether you want to see a project done. If you come together and you work together.
We would love to have live music at some of our openings too. That would be great.
Expand that art all the way.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm an artist, or let's say I'm interested in what the Gathering Artists of Putnam are doing. How do I find out?
Well, right now it's mainly Facebook.
Okay.
We have an announcement on our Facebook page, and I also keep an email list of people that don't do Facebook.
Okay.
So I send out copies of whatever we post.
Okay.
To interested people.
Excellent.
We've been keeping a list for people to put down their emails.
Awesome.
So each time there's a new show coming up, we'll post an announcement and say what the criteria are for that particular show, if it has a theme, or what steps to follow, and when to submit your photos for consideration, and then we'll follow back and tell you, yes, you're accepted, come on in, bring your work.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I'll be sure that we put the link below if somebody's interested to the Facebook. And as you grow, the membership will grow, and you guys can, really, I hope you take over Putnam County and just like painting the roses red. That's what I think about.
Yeah.
One more question before we let you go. So what art piece are you currently working on?
I'm working on a series of animal people portraits.
Portraits, okay.
Not people, portraits. I'm working on a ram, the bighorn rams with big curly horns, and I'm working on a camel that I saw at a festival. Just things that caught my eye that I want to paint.
Those ram horns are really unique, and
it's hard to get that twist just right.
I know. Again, that anything with that motion is a skill set for sure. So, well, thank you for taking the time to come and share about Gathering Artists of Putnam.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. I very much, whether you're an artist or not, there's always something to appreciate in this. And I look forward to the inspiration that this brings to others. Hopefully this will draw in more artists.
I hope
so if you're out there in your workshop, or you've retired like Miss Evelyn and you're dabbling in some paint and you're looking for a tribe to hang out with, I think she's got you covered. And
come
again,
see us.
Yeah, and help beautify Putnam County. And we'll also leave the locations of the installations that you have right now.
Yeah.
And again, I would love to sit down in 6 months after you've got a building, we're putting it out there, willing it into existence, and hear updates about how many members it's grown to. Because, again, you haven't even made it a year. And you guys have grown so much. So I can only imagine what it's going to become.
I'm so excited. I can't wait either.
All right. Well, thank you for your contributions to this community and honoring art. And we will see you guys in the next episode.